the way how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does tarbiyah is not from the external to the inward, but from the inward to the external. It's exactly the other way around. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is, He says, I have created human beings with the innate nature of lots of feelings and potentialities and latifas. But these need to come out. Because unless they come out, the human being cannot grow. I was thinking that I will do a PhD on divine justice. And I started, doing my research, and my professor knew that it was going to be something around divine justice, and he said, just go and start your research. So I started reading books, and the more I read about it, the more I came across with the whole idea of the term putting God on trial. And I was like, I'd never heard that term before. And I was like, how would you put God on trial? What does that even mean, And then when I read further, it was basically coming to this whole idea of, God is the reason why all of these injustices happen, because He allows it to happen. So in fact, He is the real reason for all of it. So we must put God on trial for everything, rather than Him putting us on trial in the day of judgment, And I was like, that was completely over the top for me, I didn't expect that. And then the more I read, I realized that unless you tackle the question of the problem of evil first, it does not really make sense to directly jump into divine justice and talk about divine justice. If you look into literature, there has been made a difference between natural evil and moral evil. Natural evil referring to earthquakes and to tsunamis and all sorts of natural disasters, really. And moral evil refers to the ill works of human beings, in a sense. It goes back to free will and predestination and all of those things. Evil is something that has been defined by us human beings, how we perceive it, how we see it, when we walk around that surrounds us, simply, And as human beings, what we do is we always judge according to to the apparent. From the Quranic perspective, let me give you a few terms that the Quran defines as shar. One of them, for example, is kufr, the denial of God. Another meaning of kufr is to cover the truth. And another meaning of kufr is to deny the bounties of God. So this is all kufr. And this is all being described or defined as shar in the Quran. Another one is shirk, associating partners with God. Another one, for example, is ifk, which is slander. Another one is to pile up wealth instead of sharing it. To just basically pile in the Quran is described as piling up gold, for example, which is referring to wealth, really. Another one is, for example, not to keep your promise that you have given to God or to other human beings. And if you think about these attributes, they are nothing that we would describe as evil, really, in a sense, right? Or we wouldn't even think of these as evil. But God describes these attributes as evil. And this is what I found really interesting when I started doing the research, that the problem, in a sense, that needs to be discussed first is our perception of evil equal to Allah's definition and perception thereof? actually what I've done is I've only started, writing a new book that is talking about how our kids can tell us about God, and how a lot of events that they react to, the reactions that they give to a lot of things in their environment, and also the answers that they give to, and also it starts actually when they're still in your womb, it can be very much a reminder of the Creator. And this is what I'm trying to raise my own awareness for, Let me give you one example. What I'm trying to do in this book, or what I want to do in this book, is to make aspects that are very abstract and very much out there in the air from a theological perspective, to bring them down and to make them a little bit more tangible and accessible, and also practical and existential in a way. So that we can say, because I've heard a lot of people saying, they go to madrasas and they go to halaqas for their own personal religious education. They sit there for, whatever it is, like 1.5 hours. They listen to their sheikh, their imam, their hoja, whatever, and then they're tranquil and they like it there and everything. And then when they leave the place, it's as if now it's worldly matters. Now we're back in the world, and everything stays there in a way. And it is as if all of that was very abstract and it was nice to listen to, but it is not really it is not really transferable into my daily life. How am I supposed, for example, to think about God every minute, every hour? How is that even possible in this busy life that I'm in? And so this is what I'm trying to do in the book. I'm trying to explain or help mothers, especially maybe also even mothers who are at home, who are not working, who are only with their children, to find a way to exactly do this, to take the abstract down into their daily lives and try to build a relationship with their Creator. Just to give one example, is that for the child that is in the womb of the mother is the necessarily existent one. If the mother does not exist, the child cannot exist. So that means in the other way around, the child's existence is dependent on the mother's existence. So, and if you take this now to the God, servant relationship, it's exactly the same concept, really. Human beings or creation's existence is completely and entirely dependent on God's existence. That's why He is the necessarily existent one. So this is just to give one example, and what I'm trying to do in the book is I'm trying to make analogies or like this, to look at it from the mother-child relationship and then to transfer it into the servant-God relationship, and to try to make it more tangible and understandable for people, to build a relationship with the Creator and to really understand, how it all works. Because there is always a little, and it's I think that's also the rahmah of God, that He has put a little sample of everything that He has in the absolute, because everything that He has is the absolute, but He has given, from everything, He has given us little samples, very finite samples, but they're still samples that how we can relate to God and how we can understand Him better through these finite little samples that we have. Sayyid Nursi, the scholar that I'm specializing in, he says in his works, the Risale-i-Nur, he says, human being is a very complex creation. And the human being has a lot of feelings, and he calls it latifa, So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is He says, I have created human beings with the innate nature of lots of feelings and potentialities and latifas. But these need to come out. Because unless they come out, the human being cannot grow. He needs to get introduced to these feelings and potentialities. And that's why He confronts us in our lifetime with certain events. May that be positive events or negative events. And through those events that we're confronted, our feelings and latifa and potentialities come to the surface. And the moment they come to the surface, we are being introduced to them. Now, sometimes that can have shock effects, shocking effects. Sometimes it can be something positive. Sometimes it can be a shocking effect initially, and then later on, when you ponder upon it, you will say, oh, this has been really positive actually, in the long run, because I've learned this and I've learned that, and I didn't know that I had this potentiality. I would never have thought that I would have been able to do this and that, So these thoughts that we have is all related to this idea that we have been at that time introduced to a skill, a very vital maybe even skill, that we didn't know we had it. But it was there, it was in our innate nature. It just needed to be triggered, it just needed to be actualized. And this is exactly what Allah does. And this is the way He makes tarbiyah, this is the way He teaches us in life. Those negative events that we have, what we should do is, we should let them happen. We should let them go through our veins, through our system. And we should celebrate them. And we should honor them. Because when a Muslim honors negative feelings, what he does is he's not honoring the feeling itself, he's honoring the one who has given him that feeling, or her that feeling. Yeah? And that's a very crucial point, to know that even our feelings are coming from God. So when you accept that feeling, when you accept that negative feeling to come and you welcome it, what you do actually is you honor the Creator by doing that. I'm not saying it's an easy task. It is a very difficult task to do, but it requires training. But what I'm saying is it's doable. It is something that we should strive for. To be able to come to this stage where we are able to honor even negative feelings. And it is crucial because in today's society, when you look into social media, everybody wants to show their positive face and their happy face and their rich face. And it is as if everybody's trying to promote, the positive and neglect the negative. But we're human beings, to try to be like that is very utopic and it's unrealistic. And it's also not possible, really, So instead of doing that, we should be able to really honor these feelings, let them happen, right? Instead of rowing against the stream. Because constantly rowing against the stream, because we don't like the feelings and we want them to go away, what happens is that when we constantly row against those feelings, we become tired, and this is where depression starts. Depression is really, really, really being tired of trying to get rid of the negative. So if we would accept it and honor it, then we would be relieved in a way, right? And then, we could think of the next step, which would be, okay, so what does Allah try to teach me with this? Where is the tarbiyah aspect of it? Contemplate on it, and this is where growth starts. A little bit over a year ago, we have founded the International Foundation for Muslim Theology, which is promoting exactly what I was just talking about, which is promoting the whole idea of looking into the core of our iman, looking into the core of religion, and stop dealing with the crust, to stop dealing with the outer appearance of things. What we are trying to promote is, human beings should not judge by the zahir, but the apparent, but by the core, by the real meaning of it. And this also applies for Muslims when they deal with their own religion. We have to train ourselves to go into the core, into the meaning of religion, rather than just talking about the fiqh aspect and the jurisprudence aspect of it. And this is what our youth today really want. When they go into the bookshop, they want to see books that tell them about their creator. They don't want to know about the how questions. They want to know about the why questions. And the IFMT is trying to exactly promote this. We are talking about the whys. We are talking about the existential questions that everybody is faced with in this life. Not only Muslims, but the humanity in large. Read, read, read. And think.